Hey, everybody, welcome back to the Realm of History. Tonight, we got our first live review session for 2026. That's going to be on Chapter 18 Land Based Empires, Gunpowder Empires, Ottomans, Safavids, Mughals, what have you. So, we're going to get you ready for the big quiz tomorrow and make sure that I answer all of your questions. Hey, while you're here, check in with me in the comments. Let me know that you're here. Give me a shout out. Love to hear and see that you are here supporting the realm and getting ready for the quiz. I want to start with a little bit of key advice. So, we'll be going through some major ideas tonight, but most often we'll take a look at some key advice, key terms. Pretty much going to go through the entire review sheet with you. I do have some quick pieces of AP advice, and then we'll close off with a question and answer session. But the key advice tonight is, as usual, number one, the best way to study for the quiz is to study your notes. The notes are the breakdowns of everything that's important to know for tomorrow. Of course, utilize your review sheet, right? Make sure you utilize that review sheet. Quiz yourself off the review sheet. Test yourself. Make sure that you know each key figure, each key concept, each key term in and out very well. And then I would also say watch the Heimler videos for topics 3.1, 3.2, 3.3, and make sure that you have finished the AMSCO reading, right? That's really the most important advice I can give you. Those factors right there really help you get ready for this quiz paper tomorrow. Number two, pray for the right things, right? I don't think you should pray for success on this quiz, even though you may be nervous about it. It's going to be a challenge. You know that I am here to challenge you. That's one of the promises that I've made you. But, ask the good Lord for guidance. There's so many more important things going on in the world that you need to pray for. But if you're going to pray, ask to have the Lord give you guidance to use your talents to the fullest. Say the prayer of gratitude. Thank you, Lord Jesus, for blessing me with all the great things that I have and the opportunity to give my best effort on a test instead of, have to go through certain things that other people are struggling with in the world today. And then, of course, I think it's really important that you give thanks to all of those people who are in your life who are there to help you. I think that's really also a very important thing to pray for as well. And of course, their health and safety. Number three, our model for the year, it doesn't change. Be here now, right? You have so many things floating around in your mind. I want you to grab world history tomorrow when you enter the realm and pop in history and focus on that alone for that 45 to 50 minutes that you have to take this quiz. And if you can do that, I think you're going to be a champion. I think you're going to be very, very successful in what you do. Number four, this one's really important. Your parents do a lot for you. I think you got to go and say thank you to them. If you have to pause the video right or take a break or before you go to bed, make sure you go tell your parents, number one, that you love them, that you're grateful for all the things that they do for you. And you got to understand that as a parent myself, I understand that it's a sacrifice to be a parent and to give up your time and your effort for your children. So you got to make sure that you say thank you and express your gratitude to your parents. Finally, as I said, this quiz is going to be a challenge. I wouldn't want it any other way, whether from the teaching perspective or if I were a student, I would really seek out challenges because challenges are how you get better. So I want you to rise to the occasion tomorrow. Don't be a Skipper McGee, right? Don't be a Skipper McGee. That's the worst thing that you could do. Come in, take the quiz, do the best that you can. That's all that you can control is your attitude and your effort. And bam, that way, if you put in the time and the discipline to get ready and don't make excuses, you can look at yourself in the mirror and say, look, I did my best possible effort getting ready for this quiz and assessment. And you should be feeling really strong if you're able to do that. Okay, great. Now, what we will do is we'll get into some of the key terms, the key figures, the key concepts that were important to chapter 18. The first key baller that we went over that's on the sheet, is Timur the Lame, also known as Tamerlane. He was a Central Asian ruler. He was from the city of Samarkand, and he defeated the Ottomans. He was not an Ottoman. He defeated the Ottomans, which put a major halt to the Ottoman expansion. So a really big player in, of course, Central Asia. He also came into play, right? When we learned about the Mughals, he also led battles against the Mughals as well. Next is Osman, also known as Othman. He was one of the first Ottoman rulers. The Ottoman name comes from him. So The Ottomans were followers of Osman, and that is where the name comes from. Next is Mehmed II. He's the Ottoman ruler that conquered Constantinople in 1453. Constantinople had 3 defense walls made of stone. So Mehmed II uses cannon to blow those walls apart and then ransack and lay siege to the city. Next is Suleiman. Suleiman the Magnificent, also known as the Lawgiver. He was the most influential Ottoman ruler. He ruled over the largest territory of land in Ottoman history as well. Next, we have the Ottoman leader named Selim the Grim. What a sweet name, right? Selim the Grim. Pretty bad dude, right? He was an Ottoman ruler that conquered the Muslim holy sites of Mecca, Medina, and Cairo. Cairo was today capital city in Egypt. So those are some of the big Muslim cities that Selim the Grim captured for the Ottomans. Next is a program that the Ottomans practiced called Devshirme. Devshirme was a government program in which the Ottomans Empire and the Sultan of the Ottoman Empire would recruit conquered Christian boys, convert them to Islam, and then turn them into Muslim soldiers. We know that a big part of this chapter was cultural blending. So I want you to study the bulleted list from your textbook in section 2, and in particular, study the chart on page 513, and of course, the note section that we went over on cultural blending from section 2 as well. Key place is named Esfahan. Esfahan was the capital city of the Safavid Empire, located in modern-day Iran. Next is a key Safavid ruler. He is named Ishmael. Ishmael was Safavid ruler that was very harsh in enforcing strict Shia. Remember, the Safavids were Shia or Shiites, Muslim control. Under his power, anybody that did not convert to Islam in the Shia fashion was put to death. Next is Shah Abbas, also a Safavid ruler, also very harsh in his treatment, but a little more lenient than Ishmael was, and created reforms that increased trade, especially trade with Europeans, like bringing in Chinese artists to teach the Safavids how to create art that would appeal to the Europeans. How about your guy, Safa al-Din, founder of the Safavid Empire, right? He started as Islamic Brotherhood. Safa al-Din, Safavid comes from that. So there you go. Now we'll get into some of our key figures that we want to know from the Mughal Empire of India, starting with the founder of the Mughal Empire in India, that's Babur. Then you have Akbar. Akbar was the Golden Age ruler, so the time period of most prosperity of the Mughal Empire. He's very tolerant. He allowed for religious freedom and military improvements. He also created his advisors created a tax system called the Zamandir tax system, which is on your illustrative examples, which helped create efficient government in the Mughal Empire. His son Jahangir was known as Grasper of the World. He had a Persian princess wife, though, named Nur Jahan, that really was calling the shots behind the scenes. So he was the ruler, but his wife, Nur Jahan, who was a Persian princess, was really making most of the decisions and was running the entire empire. So here she is, Nur Jahan. She's the wife of Jahangir. She was making many decisions behind the scenes during his rule, and she was a Persian princess. So from a line of families of royal blood. Next, we're going to take a look at Shah Jahan. Shah Jahan came into play a little bit later. He took power by having all of his rivals assassinated. He was later known for building the Taj Mahal in honor of his late wife, Mumtaz Mahal. His wife, Mumtaz Mahal, was, of course, married to Shah Jahan, and she died at the age of 39, giving birth to their 14th child. So the Taj Mahal is created in her honor. Her son with Shah Jahan is Aurangzeb. Aurangzeb, of course, was the son of Shah Jahan. He eventually had his father imprisoned, and he put him in a room where Shah Jahan could at least look out over and see the Taj Mahal. But he enforced a very strict Islamic code of laws that took away a lot of individual freedoms in the Mughal Empire and brought back the jizya, or tax on non-Muslims. So if you were not a Muslim practitioner, you had to pay a tax called the jizya under Aurangzeb. Then we have a group called the Sikhs. The Sikhs are usually a non-violent group, but they did take up arms in certain cases against the Mughals. They believe in equality for all and eventually did get involved in that war against the Mughals. Okay, next, I want to talk real quick. I'm going to get into the AP advice, but before I do that, I want to give you a tip on getting ready for the content portion short answer. We have over 50 people on tonight. That's still not as large as the numbers that I was hoping for because I do have over 100 students. But nonetheless, I think I'll give you this tip for being here as a token of my appreciation. The content short answer will be predicated on major construction buildings that were talked about in this chapter. So knowing key pieces of artwork is not going to be enough. You're going to want to know buildings. There's really one big one that I really want you to focus in on. Okay, AP advice. A lot of AP on this quiz. Talked about 10 MCQs, 1 SAQ. Okay, so the MCQs, here's some topics of importance. Write these down if you want to do really well. First one is the Mughal Zamindar tax collection system that I referenced. It's a tax collection system created under Akbar. It's one of the illustrative examples that Heimler's videos talked about today from topic 3.2. And it is very, very important to have an understanding, not only for this quiz, but for the AP exam at the end of the year. Number 2, some of the prompts for the MCQs are paintings. So you're going to want to study some paintings that depict Ottoman and Mughal military. You're not going to be able to find these paintings. You might get lucky and find them, but that's not the goal here. What you really want to do is understand how the Ottoman military operated, how the Mughal military operated. One of the big clues there is gunpowder, right? That's going to be your starting point and reference framing. But you need to know a little bit more than that. Number 3, there's also a painting that depicts Suleiman the Magnificent. So you're not going to be able to find this painting. And even if you did, that's not going to help you that much. But understanding who Suleiman was, what are some of his practices, those are things to research. Finally, the SAQ, I'll tell you, it's related to cultural blending, right? We spent a good portion of section 2 in the content notes talking about cultural blending. You're going to want to be able to name some examples. You're going to want to be able to answer questions that refer to cultural diffusion or cultural blending, which is one of the big themes of our course. All right, awesome. So we did all of that, got through almost the entire review sheet there, talked about our AP advice in less than 15 minutes. Sign of strength. Now I'm going to do the question and answer session. So I'm going to go to the comments. Please, if you haven't let me know that you're here, please go ahead and give me a shout out there. Thank you for being here. I do appreciate all of you, but go ahead. I am ready for your questions. Habibi, Amu Langle, let me know. Thank you. I appreciate that. Amu Langle, thanks for being here. Got some key ballers in this realm. Like it. Appreciate all of you. Lily K was first on the comments, so nice. She's got the first slot there. And now I'm going to look for some questions. Here we go. Amelia, if the Sikhs were a nonviolent group, then what pushed them into the war? So Jahangir and Nur Jahan had a couple of sons, right? Shah Jahan eventually becomes the ruler, but one of his other sons is named Khusrau. And Khusrau, all right, he was exiled and he went to the Sikhs looking for support. Well, the Sikhs have a leader called Guru Arjan. The Mughals captured Guru Arjan and tortured him. And so that's really what gets the Sikhs involved in conflict with the Mughals. All right. Moving on down the line. Moving on down the line. All right, Kenzie. So no, you don't have to define the key groups on the review sheet. Just key terms numbers 1 through 20, terms, figures, concepts. Key groups, you got to know about them, but to define them would be writing like several paragraphs. So don't have to do that. All right. Gabby the Gabby, here we go. Is knowing lineage important for tomorrow, like who was whose brother and dad, etc.? Fathers and sons, yes. Brothers, dads, yes. Brothers, not so much on this quiz, but fathers and sons, 100%, yes. Shah Abbas. Let me go back to the banner. I'll pull it up for you, everything that I said. So, Shah Abbas was a key ruler, of course, of the Safavids. So, he's going to be in the middle here. Shah Abbas, here you go. So, a couple key things. Safavid ruler, very harsh in his treatment, a little bit more lenient than his father, okay, Ishmael, but did create reforms that increased trade, right? One of the big reforms that I mentioned is bringing in Chinese artists to teach the Safavid art workers how to create things like metalworks, tools, weapons, glass, tile, porcelain that would draw attention from Europeans. That was his big goal, is to get Europe involved in that trade. All right. I think those will be really helpful, but it does have elements from point 3 and point 4 as well. So it's a big picture topic. So there's a lot of questions. So I think there's going to be importance of studying all of those, and watching all of those videos would be helpful if you haven't done so at this point. Yes, of course. Who's expanding? Who held the largest territory like Suleiman? How did they expand? Gunpowder, military, cannons, right? So all of those elements would, of course, be very important, Avery. All right. Yeah, I think this is really important in any empire that we study, but especially in the gunpowder empires. We talked about how they rose to power. We talked about some things in between. And then, of course, we talked about some factors of decline. Most of the factors of decline ended up dealing with poor leadership. So it's going to be important to know those empires like Qing, like the Boyars of Russia, like the French under Louis XIV. For the AP exam, for tomorrow's quiz, it'll be more predicated on topics related to chapter 18. Okay, that's a good question. Gabby the Gabby. Yeah, here we go. Did Suleiman create Devshirme and Janissaries, or did they just happen during his reign? So he did not create them. They were something that had started with the Ghazis. Remember the Ghazis, who were the warriors of Islam? So even before the Ottomans were called them the were known as the Ottomans under Osman, they were still practicing Devshirme, and Janissaries were protecting the leader. And then it just became more official after Osman. So no, Suleiman doesn't create, but those programs were most powerful under Suleiman the Magnificent. Yeah, of course. Master Miles, what's up, Master Miles? One of my favorite all-time ballers, man. Yeah, oh Patrick, we got quiz. We ball out. We get going, and we make sure that we challenge ourselves to get right back in the swing of things. Yes, sir. Not necessarily. So on the SAQ, you're going to have to know about cultural blending, and you're going to have to know about empires. And then you're going to have to use your knowledge to provide examples. See what I'm saying? You're going to have to use your knowledge to provide really good examples about the nature of those empires in relationship to cultural blending? Short answer is that it's going to be about a major construction or major building, Master Dane Burglar. Yeah, something like that. Okay, all right. Oh, good question. Avery is watching those TikToks from the AP College Board. Sign of strength. Yes, syncretism is a really important word. So things happening in sync, syncretic ideologies like cultural blendings that come together in sync, right? So you've got two different religions that form one new one, bam. Two languages that form into syncretic ideology. So, yes, cultural syncretism, not so much synchronism, but syncretism and religious syncretism, always important for every single AP portion. Avery, very impressive. No, no, no. Standard quiz. Challenge yourself here. No breaks. No breaks. Let's get back in the swing of things. We got to challenge ourselves. Challenges are good. Challenges are good. All right. Any other key questions? I am here to help you. All right. So, first of all, let's break this down. Akbar, Mughal ruler, right? Allows for religious tolerance, but he's Muslim. Okay. Rajputs, kind of people who are militaristic, maybe could be his enemy, maybe could become his ally. So diplomacy is like negotiating. Like, hey, we'll let you have this territory if you give us this amount of gold, or hey, if you agree to join us, then we'll give you these freedoms and rights. That's diplomacy. Diplomats, like if you know anybody or have heard on the news, like, oh, he's a U.S. diplomat or she's a U.S. ambassador to this country. These are people who practice diplomacy. They're trying to keep relationships good between several entities. Okay, Gabby, the importance of Esfahan, it was the capital of the Safavid Empire, but it was centrally located. And it's centrally located for the purposes of better trade. Okay. The old empire, the old empire's capital was more down toward the south, making it harder for trade. So the move to Esfahan makes it more balanced for the purposes of trade. Other key questions, ladies and gentlemen. I know there's a big game on tonight. I think last I checked, Miami was winning 7-3. Hopefully, it's a good game so far. I'm boycotting the playoffs because I'm a Notre Dame fan, so I'm not giving my viewership to ESPN. Any other questions, though, about Chapter 18? I got Miami winning 28. I said 28-17, but it's probably going to be more like 24-17 now that they've got a field goal. It's already 10-3. So I'm going to call for 24-17, somewhere in that range. How's Trinidad Chambliss doing against Miami's front seven, though? That's what I'd like to know. Are they holding them in check? Oh, wow. 17-13 Miami at half. So that's what I'm saying. Second half defenses make adjustments. Yeah, 24-17, possibly 30-21, somewhere in that range. Any other key questions that I can help with? Okay. Well, hey, I really appreciate you being here. I hope that it was beneficial for you. Remember to pray for the right things. Make sure you say thank you to your parents. Okay. If you need my help in more of a way or need any extra explanations, you can always email me. Feel free to do that. I'm usually pretty active and will be there to help you. Okay. God bless and have a wonderful night. We'll see you tomorrow. Okay. Peace.